Hi, everyone. Welcome along to our weekly devotion. I don't know how difficult or how tough your day, your week, your year has been, but I do know that for every success that any of us can ever experience and enjoy, behind that is going to be some sort of struggle that has taken place. We didn't invite the struggle, the difficulty, the trauma into our lives, but it just seems to arrive. But it's permitted by our great God. He has chosen to permit that struggle to come into your life somehow for your benefit, for my benefit, but ultimately for his great glory. And he's going to bring incredible things out of the experiences that we have. The psalmist tells us that those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. There's good times coming after these difficult, traumatic times. The pain, the discomfort always comes before the joy of celebration. You'll be familiar with John Bunyan, but I want to read to you a little bit of his life and his experiences. Here's a Bunyan experience. He's known as the simple British Baptist pastor who, when he was in prison, wrote the book that to this day remains the widest circulating single piece of literature in the history of the human race outside of the Bible, namely The Pilgrim's Progress. Incredible, that experience. It says here it's a great book about how to live the Christian life. However, lesser known is the fact that the 12 years in prison that during which this was written were voluntary, and in the sense that a commitment not to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ would have obtained freedom at any time. Had he said, I'm willing to set aside the gospel, they would permit him to walk out of prison. But he said, no, I'm here voluntarily because I'm going to continue preaching the gospel. And this fact intensifies the effect of knowing when Bunyan's oldest child, Mary, who was blind from birth, visited with him in prison. It was like the pulling of the flesh from my bones, he says, as she left. This was the child that had been birthed during my time in prison. I missed her. I never got to know her. This horrendous time. A fewer still are those who know that this imprisoned pastor, who with no formal education beyond grammar school, also wrote some other 60 books, most of which are still in print 350 years later. So Bunyan was used incredibly by God. Bunyan was used mightily by God. But behind all of that success, as we look at it, great struggles, great traumas, great difficulties, great pain, great discomfort. So, what is it that God might be asking you to do for him? He was asking Bunyan to write The Pilgrim's Progress and all those other books. And he went through those struggles in doing so. What is it that God might be asking you to do for him? And I want to tell you, most likely will be difficult. Maybe like Bunyan, a great legacy of truth will be left for the generations that follow from your life, from your testimony, from your witness for him. Remember those words of the psalmist again in Psalm 126, verse 5? Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. We believe that. We can be certain that there will be joyful happiness in the reaping times, but the sowing times, they'll be difficult, they'll be tearful. But let's keep that focus and say, these times are for the times of the future. So let's live this day for that day in the future. Be blessed. Have a great week. Keep pressing on with Him. Thanks for listening.